Ooh, that looks a bit weird. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another dev stream. No, not actually a dev stream. Welcome to Community Frontline number 4. My name is Rita Sursnes, and today we have lots of stuff to talk about again in regards to the game. I see that my green screen is acting up a bit. I'm guessing that's because certain animals walking around here right now are trying to absolutely demolish everything here, and are also trying to climb into the green screen, which I'm not a huge fan of. But we'll see if I can adjust this just a tiny bit to make it better. Can I? No, I cannot. That's not very nice, because it doesn't seem to do anything. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna have to live with this for a moment. I'm just gonna open the curtain a bit to fix it. There we go. That should do it. A bit, at least. Yes, there we go. So, yes, there we are. It should be a little bit better now. Who cut my hair? Yes, I'm definitely not Rita Repion. I just wanted to make a distinct difference between me, who is actually quite bald at the moment, and Rita Repion, who is like super hairy face, everything terrible. Terrible, I tell you. And I am just receiving news from the quality assurance department that the live servers will actually go down soonish to get the war fixed, because right now there's an issue on the campaign map where we cannot, or where you guys are actually capturing the capitals, but it does not properly register, so the war cannot be ended. So a fix is being prepared for this, and we will deploy this to the live server, so we can hopefully fix that and sort that issue out so the wars can end again. Which also actually means that in regards, I need to stop it, get it. I need to, yeah, since the latest hotfix on Tuesday, that also means that when this war actually ends, is that the Germans will no longer start with Berlin as a starting capital, but will actually start with Belgrade as a capital. This is the first in a set of initial changes which we have planned for the RTS to see how we can further affect the war so it becomes a bit more balanced, and so certain factions aren't sandwiched in the middle of two factions. So let's hope we can properly test these changes. So we will start with this one. We want to see how it turns out, and basically once we think, okay, this is good, bad, whatever we think of it, we will implement the next change or revert this one and see how that one pans out up until the moment that we think, okay, the war is now slightly more balanced. So this is actually the first fix. The next fix, I think, being planned is not the disabling of auto-resolve, but is actually the removing of the war fund bonus for the underdog bonus. So that means that the underdog bonus will still be there, it will still be in effect, but you will no longer actually gain war funds from this bonus, which is currently the case. So right now the underdog bonus counts for the war funds as well, so this should be good. And then the third change will most likely be, and forgive me if I'm slightly wrong, it could be the other way around, but the third change should be is that we want to run an experiment where we disable the auto resolve to see what kind of effect this will have on the war. So, but we need some time to analyze each of these changes to make sure that what we do actually has a certain effect on the war, and we're trying to figure out how we can actually properly measure this. And once we think or feel that we have the right information, then we can go on and implement the next set of changes to further increase it and see how that one turns out. And in the end, yes, I agree, because I see it already in chat. This might not completely solve everything, and we might also need to look at some choke points, as Rita Repion already said. But we have to really take it one step at a time to make sure that this stuff actually works. So yeah, that is actually, I got into that rather fast. I did not plan to start with that, but fair enough, let's start with it, why not? So as the live servers, I think somebody is already broadcasting that they will go down soon. I already started it up a bit to see if I can still play a battle before I actually hit the dirt. But I have some other stuff to share, naturally. This week I'm not going to show the RTS stats, because I actually hoped that the war would end a little sooner, so I had some new stats with Belgrade as a starting capital, but unfortunately I don't. So the statistics are currently actually practically identical to last week. So I'm gonna hold up on that for a moment. In the next 2 weeks I should hopefully have some interesting statistics again in either the war or some other statistics to see how it goes, how it progresses. So that's actually, I'm not going to show that today, but we do have some other stuff to talk about, and I hope that we will be able to play a bit on the live servers. But if the live servers are going down to apply a hotfix, I don't think that's very likely. Well, I actually already tried to boot up a game to just play a bit on the live server. I will continue to talk over some things. For the record, this is actually one of my private accounts, because the war hasn't ended, so my other character is actually, my retro account is actually still in the in the German faction, actually. So it's currently not possible for me to play on that account because I haven't reset the war on it. So I've started up my private account because we have to play, or I have to play US today. So this is actually one of the accounts which I use on a regular basis in my private playtime, where I also have my own stuff. So you see, yeah, you can't exactly see it because my face is in front of it, but you see that there is a deploy fix going to come up in 30 minutes, and the expected downtime is an hour. So we'll see how many battles we can actually play. And yeah, I'm gonna start up a bit of a battle, see where we can get. As to 80 Invictus, yes, this is my Emenian account. It's actually the only private account of mine which is known, fairly well known even. But of course I have some on the other factions as well, which nobody knows about, which is great, because it makes my playtime a lot more easier. So, over the past weeks, last week we of course had the Q&A and Y stream, but we have been discussing a lot of things, really a lot of things. We have these weekly meetings where we take up the community issues. We have a lot of other meetings to discuss yeah, what you guys are up to, what is happening on the forums, what is happening in the game and stuff like that. So part of this is actually what Rita Repjarn has already shown as well, is that we have this current issue document thingy where we basically describe the issues you guys have experienced. And I'll probably have to lower the volume a bit. And we add these into a certain list, and then we go through them with the design team to see, like, okay, where is it, where are we at, what are we looking at, what is the actual issue, and how are we actually going to attempt to fix this. So we have these meetings on a weekly basis, and it is fairly good to know that right now some of these, because it sometimes takes time for some of these issues to be fixed. So they have to enter, or we have to find time, or actually I don't, but people have to find time to enter the actual development stage for this. Hold on, I just need to... so right now some of these current issues have actually started entering development phase. Some of them are actually already done. So I just want to slightly walk you through some of these things which we have in this list, and discuss a bit, like, so this is how we look at it, this is what has been decided so far, has it entered development or not, and what are we looking at here. And one of the current things which I wanted to talk about this week is actually, we've seen some reports over the past months from, well, I have to say particularly veterans, but then again this is the most likely the vocal community which we are seeing here, is that there's too much bushes, or the density of the bushes is actually too much at the moment. So as a result of that, we have discussed this with the design team, with the producer. There's actually quality assurance is also attending to give their voice in this matter. Is actually that we have made an adjustment. So it's not on the live server yet, but we have made an adjustment on one of the streams, and eventually all these streams merge together into a test stream for quality assurance, where they can get on with testing these changes before we actually put them on live. And so one of these changes which we have made in regards to this is that actually, oh come on, is that right now on some of these streams, so once again it's not on live, is that the boundaries of the foliage, which means the bushes and the stuff like this, the density or the visibility has been increased by 50%. So that means that the bushes, as you know it, are significantly, so the bushes in the field boundaries are reduced by 50%, which means that somewhere in the future, if it gets approved naturally, you will see on every map, actually this is a general change on every map, is that on the actual boundaries of the maps, of the field areas, because they're mostly designated areas, the boundaries will have 50% less bushes. It's a bit of an experiment, so we want to see how this turns out, because we are slightly worried that for new players this will actually may make it more difficult. But we will have to basically see how that actually turns out. But it's something we're definitely willing to try, because if you guys say like there's too much bushes, it's simply not fun, then why not give it a shot and reduce the amount of bushes? So that is actually something which is currently already actually implemented. So it's a fix already being made somewhere, and we just have to see where it actually fits into the quality assurance time, when we're going to merge it and when we're going to put it on live. But I dare say it will especially make some veterans quite pleased, since there were quite a few complaints about it. Another thing obviously is what we have talked about so far already, is that the weapon stats. We've been looking at some of these stats in the Q&A and Y stream, and I've elaborated a bit on the latest community Frontline stream as well. So these stats are, of course, naturally, we pulled them out just to show you guys some of these stats which we use, but naturally we also want to do something with them ourselves. So one of the developers who is responsible for balancing these weapons is actually also looking into these stats to see if we need to make some weapon balance adjustments. So right now, and that is still very much preliminary, so this is not something which is definitive. It's not something I can say like this is what we're gonna do, this is not what we're gonna do, because we still need to or this developer still needs to fully analyze these stats. Is that the Johnson will, as already said on the forums, will most likely receive a nerf on close range and a buff on the slightly longer ranges, so the damage fall off is a little slower. And based on this, that means that actually, if you look at the big picture, is that actually it is a slight nerf of the Johnson. It will be slightly better on longer ranges, but it will be slightly less good on close ranges. Which is basically, if we look at your guys' feedback as well, is that's something we see, is that you guys find it too effective on the actual close ranges. So that's something we're looking at. Naturally, we also talked a bit about the MG42. The MG42 has also been a big topic on the forums in its performance. And so far the stats, and once again it hasn't been fully analyzed, and these are not conclusions, so if something suddenly changes on live and it's not what I said, that's because this stuff isn't final yet, is that the MG42 will have some adjustments in regards to how the how it performs, how it handles, so it will have a little less sway, so it's better to control. It's easier to handle in terms of close and mid-range, because we think so far it has been slightly a bit overdone. So the MG42 is also something we are actually looking at. Besides that, we're also looking into the M1 M2 carbine. The M1 M2 carbine will also most likely receive a slight buff in terms of handling, so it handles a tiny bit easier. It's not supposed to be a long-range weapon, so it will most likely not be a long-range weapon, but we will make some, most likely make some adjustments to facilitate, oh, this is bad, to facilitate the better handling of this weapon. I'm slightly lagging, and I think it's because I'm running some stuff in the background which might eat up my internet a bit, but we have to look at it. And one of the last weapons on top of my head, let me have a quick look, is the, let's have a look see. Let's see. 1 second, it should be here somewhere. It's is the Browning, the M1919. What we've looked at is actually because, as you may have seen in a very early test version, which Reader's Affliction showed, is that we're running some tests with a new system, which gives us the possibility that we can flip down this, that you can flip down of the M1919. So once again, this hasn't even been approved yet, so we don't even know if it's going to hit live. But what we would like, if that hits live, is, or what we would like is, what we think is that it would require slight adjustments in terms of that it may be a little bit too powerful if we keep it the way it is. So if those sights turn out to be flipped down, or the possibility to flip them down, then we want to make sure that the weapon of course remains balanced. So we are going to look into that as well, but that's something a bit for later, because we don't even know if this stuff is going to hit live. But that's one of the few things we're looking at. And now that we're actually talking about statistics anyway, is that another thing we were looking at, because we're seeing a lot of complaints of the P38 Lightning overperforming. So we are pulling out some stats, not just about the P38 Lightning, but we're pulling out some general stats for the planes to see, do we need to adjust some of these planes in terms of handling, in terms of power, to make sure that these weapons are actually balanced. And while we look at that, we will also look at how is the actual balance looking in actual matches. Like, is it always like 2 German pilots versus 6 P38 Lightmans, for example? Because in that case, we're looking at like, is that really a problem with the plane, or is that a problem with matchmaking, just simply putting too much pilots on the other side, which makes it very hard to fly against? So those are actually some of the things we are looking at, and hopefully once I know what these actual changes are, I will let you guys know. But right now it's still very much in the analyzing phase, so I can't say for sure right now. But it's definitely planned to be looked at, which means that it's sort of in production stage, which means that it's something on the list which will be done before a certain time. And hopefully we can, once ready, we can provide some more information on what these actual buffs and nerfs and changes and adjustments are going to be. So, but in general, we're reading the forums in these terms, so if any other like huge things pop up, like, oh, this is absolute shit, that is absolute shit, we will be looking at them, and we will add them to the list to make sure that we analyze this and draw the proper conclusions to see, like, is this something which should be fixed, is this something which shouldn't be fixed. Which leaves us a bit to actually Operation Project Glasnost, because it isn't super surprising that all of a sudden this happens. We have been trying to be a lot more active on both the Steam forums and the official forums in the past 2-3 weeks, and we are actually still further increasing our activity. And which means that we will try to answer a lot more of the feedback, the questions, the concerns, but also if we do not know the answer, we will take those concerns into account, take them to the right developer, so we can prepare the appropriate answers for it. which means that also stuff like this, such as weapon balance, is not something we can directly answer, like this is a problem or this isn't. So it will be added on the list of a developer, like, could you please take a look at this, tell us what you see, tell us if it needs any changes, and we will apply changes if necessary. But the general idea is actually that the community managers, but also developers who have some time for it, will be a lot more active on the forums, will be actively answering questions, concerns and topics to see and to improve our communication with you guys. And to be fairly honest, if I look at it, being on the forums for 4 or 5 years already, I personally see that our activity has significantly increased already. We're gonna keep that up and hopefully improve the communication by a lot. And I keep being shot at and I don't know from where, because he's not in this building. So, and yes, I have more to talk about. Yes, another thing which actually has been reported on the forums and actually has been reported in the streams as well. Actually, I think it was part of a question of the Q&A and Y stream last Wednesday, is actually the Moscow servers. There's a lot of complaints from not necessarily the Russians, but actually from people on other locations in the world, that they are unhappy with the general behavior of the Moscow servers. So we've done a little digging. There has been some investigations, and for now what it turns out to be is actually that these issues are not necessarily related to our server, but more the connection players have towards the server, which is generally not something we can actually do anything about, because while we do own the servers, we do not have anything to do with the ISPs between you and that server. So if they experience issues, you may experience issues as well. It is something which is of course naturally very annoying, and we are looking into some possible other options, and we are still further investigating like what can we actually do about this, because it's not really a problem with the actual servers which we have. And once we have some more details about this, we will naturally try to share that with you and discuss with you like what would be good options. And so many people shooting at me, it's like so unfair. I need to switch weapons, this is the wrong weapon. So that is actually also something we are... Oh, there's one on the other side as well. We are looking at. Where is it? Here it is. This one I need. And we're not gaining it. Is there a jeep I can spawn on? No. Yeah, that's also something we have been looking at and investigating. We have actually quite a large document on the Moscow servers, but yeah, our server guys are looking into the matter, and we're discussing options which we can implement to ensure that the game of course remains fun for anyone, because it is true, it's low pings do of course matter, so it's not entirely fair or fun if the situation is rather bad. I'm still having some issues. Actually, yeah, itchy. And I see my kittens have finally stopped demolishing my room and went back to sleep. That is awesome. Quiet. Peace. Mindful peace. Another thing we have actually been looking at, because there is more we have been looking at, it's unbelievable, is that as you may have seen, that Vito Vashu has returned on the forums. He has been on some leave for some time. But he is back, and as a comeback gift, no, not really, but as he's been reading some of the topics on the forums, and he was actually addressing some concerns, which results that he's made some changes to the RTS UI, so not to the RTS itself, but to the UI, which will now, once again, it hasn't been actually tested yet, and don't know when it will hit live, which means that you have the ATs on the right, which you can mass select, and is this guy AFK? And you will also have the possibility to mass select ATs from, if you click on a town, you see your ATs and other people's ATs. You can select your own ATs and mass select and move them. And besides that, as was requested on the forums, we will also implement the ability for you to see which character the assault team belongs to when you click on it. So you will see like this assault team has this name and it belongs to this soldier. Should make it a bit easier to actually find them. So these are actually they are pretty small changes, but they should have a significant effect in how you can manage assault teams. It's especially, I would say, pretty useful for those who are big generals. There's absolutely something terribly wrong with my sound. I hope the planes aren't too noisy, by the way. I'm not sure if they are too noisy in terms of me speaking, but because I can't really hear properly with the sound being so low. So the grouping of AT, I see the request here, is sort of a different matter, because as far as I know, that is not entirely just UI. So it's not as easy as or not as easy. Making UI changes can be fairly difficult as well, but it's not just Rita Vashu who needs to be involved in that process. So the grouping of ATs is I'm not sure if these plans are still valid, but of the RTS was some sort of grouping system in a slightly different way as has been requested, but those things aside. But it would of course be nice also to actually reduce the massive amount of units you have on the map, would be to sort of group them together so you can send them all in one go, and so they only show as one package on the map, because each assault team being shown on the map is actually quite that can drain quite a lot from the campaign map, especially with the amount of assault teams being around at the moment. So oh great, thanks as well, that's awesome. I hate motorcycles, they're too fast for me. Will you die? Let's see if I can hit his arm. Oh, he died. And I think there's a guy up ahead here as well. Screw him. So yes, then we have, last but not least, we have another thing we have looking into. Well, I've been saying this sentence a lot, is that we've seen a lot of reports on Steam, and we've seen a lot of reports, not that many on the official forums, but we've seen plenty on Steam, is that there's reports of, especially in particular the bronze matchmaking and the silver matchmaking, is that the matchmaking times can be very long. We're making some adjustments so to our internal system so we can better analyze this, because it's fairly important for us that you guys are able to find your game. So we're making some adjustments so we can further analyze this and get some good metrics in, so we know actually what we're looking at, so we can hopefully fix this issue. So that means that we are definitely looking into this issue. Can't say when or we will potentially provide a fix for it, or if there is anything we can do about it right now, but we would very much like this to change. So we are definitely looking to see where the problem may actually be. God, this is terrible with the sun in my eyes. Okay, I'm going to turn up the volume just a bit more. And I'm going to close this a bit again, and I hope it will still look okay-ish. Okay-ish, but it's pretty darkish. That's bad. I don't know why it does this all of a sudden. I haven't changed that much. Let's see. Yes, this is better. This is better, right? Yeah, this should be better. There we go. So, yeah, that's something else we've been looking at. Well, I am very much dead. We might as well do a giveaway. If I can find it. There it is. The question is, does this actually show on stream, or do I need to minimize this? That is a good question. I'll do it like this. So we're gonna have a small giveaway because we've already actually been at it for 40 minutes. If you want to participate, you can type !gold and you can participate, and I will pick a winner once I see plenty of names flowing in, and which gives me the opportunity to take a small sip. And opening my Slack for a moment to see if I missed anything important. Okay. Yes. I see that a lot of guys have actually engaged already, participated. So we're gonna have a look. See, I'm just gonna run it for 10 more seconds. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's not looking good. I'm idling. It's terrible. So I'm going to close the giveaway in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and close the giveaway. I'm gonna pick a winner. The winner is Gunner version or V02_HG. Please type something in chat, sir, madam, gender neutral. Yeah, fine. Yes, took you long enough. I agree. So, congratulations, Gunner V02_HG. Please get in touch with Rito_Hates, and he will set you up with the giveaway. And I'm actually going to pick a second winner, which will be Ninkanpoop. Ninkanpoop. Ninkanpoop, please also type something in chat to. Oh yeah, that was definitely a message. Yes. So Ninkanpoop, you have also won. So congratulations. Please also get in touch with Rito_Hates. And actually, it seems like the servers just went poo-poo. Let's have a look-see. No, it seems to be still being running. But maybe actually the action servers have already been partially shut down. That is a fairly good question, which I do not know. So maybe with a little luck we can actually play another battle, and if not, then so be it. I'm just gonna adjust it a bit more. I don't know why it does this. I checked it, you know, like an hour ago, and it's. I blame the kittens. I blame everything on the kittens. I need to abandon Discord because I am. And people are. Somebody's watching chat here, Tante. So let's see if we can actually still get into battles. I'm not entirely sure. Ah, yes, we can. It's gonna be a defense battle against the Germans. So actually, that was pretty much all I had for now. I wanted to show some actual screenshots of the Foliage decrees, but unfortunately I couldn't get them on time. But hopefully, maybe I will have something for next stream. And so yeah, there was all the things I really wanted to talk about, which leaves us with a question from chat. I'm loading up in the game anyway, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. As to Emberfire 1000, I've been playing the game on this account for 5 years now. 5 years. And well, actually the Warfront system has been around, I think, for 3.5 years. So I've had some time to collect my Warfronts. Just gonna have a quick look if what's happening. Show my playstats. Who wants to see my play? Is that being a request? I don't want to show my playstats. Do I want to show my playstats? Oh, we could have a small look at my playstats. Give me a moment. I'll just spawn once for a sec, because or else I'm idling for the entire battle again, and I'm just gonna close the grid even more and probably turn black again. But wow, that is a nasty fence. So it's gonna be even more blackish. I honestly just don't know why it's doing that today, but yes, let's hit more fences. That's awesome. Oh, oh, can you stop? Come on, what are you doing? That was madness. Madness, I tell you. So I'm just gonna have a quick look at my stats because it has been requested. Player profile. Whoop. So, whoop. This is actually one of my accounts, so I've got time played on this account is 2090 hours. Actually, I've got quite a lot of raid kills by the looks of it. In total, I have. My KD dropped a bit, but that's unfortunate. Luckily, that actually doesn't really matter in the game. So, oh, you actually still see the action game? Haha, that's funny. Because that overrides. Hold on. Give me a sec. I can fix that. Oh Jesus. It should be. Let me have a looky. This one. Yes. Yes. So these are actually my stats. Because now it should overwrite the other one. Yeah. So these are actually the stats on my menu account. So this is just one of the accounts, but this is actually the account I think I have the most hours on. I'm pretty sure this is the account which I have the most hours on. So total deploys 55,180. It's quite insane. Yeah, so these are my kills, my deaths, my time played. I traveled actually a lot on foot. That's a lot more than in real life. And then we have the weapons and equipment, and as you can see, this is actually primarily my US account. I do have some German soldiers on it, but on this one I actually play the most with the M1 Garand. Always loved that gun. Thompson I still love, even though despite people saying it's so horrible, I really love playing with the Thompson. I find it fairly effective still on close range. And after that, the Browning, the rifle M1903, but actually the MG42 surprisingly enough as well. The MG42 is actually, well, considering this is primarily a US account, I find 53 and a half hours playing with the MG42 quite acceptable. So. And actually the Browning I don't play that much anymore. There was a point in time where the Browning was like super awesome. I played it a lot back then, but right now my primarily stuff which I play with is actually the M1 Garand and the Thompson. So, and actually surprisingly well, decent accuracy, but have no fear, I played 2 seconds with the Seitengewehr 98, but I did not make any kills with it though. That's kind of disappointing. I did make a kill with a telemine, apparently, 1, and a 33% accuracy. I mean, isn't that awesome? And then we have the vehicles is the P-38 Lightning, because that was simply the plane which has been in the game for the longest. I do fly with the other ones nowadays as well, but I don't fly that much anymore. I actually made 100 kills with the Jeep. That's fairly funny. I haven't looked at these in a while. Yeah, the tanks I play a lot with, of course, naturally when it's needed. Apparently I've been having a go with the Panzer one. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't make any kills with the civilian bicycle. I'm not sure if that's actually still possible, but it used to be possible to run over people with bicycles if you were going full speed. So I'm a bit disappointed I don't have any kills there. Oh look. Apparently I've been stealing quite a bit of tanks from other factions, because I don't think I have a tanker on the other factions on this account. I haven't actually. Do I have any? What I wonder. Oh yeah, I actually played 37 minutes with the Messerschmitt. I remember stealing one day. It accidentally landed when the pilot got killed. So yeah, these are the stats on this account. Actually, if you guys are interested, I can show it on the Reader account as well next time. It should be quite interesting, because I think I also have 300-400 hours on that account. Not entirely sure, but I've been playing quite a bit on it lately, gathering some hours. So, but this is basically the account which I started with in this game. And besides that, because this is also my most popular account, I use generally. I have a German account, separate private account, which in general it provides a bit better it provides a bit better anonymity, because people do tend to poke you with stuff retail related, and when I play on these accounts I simply do not want to be disturbed too much with issues, because I too have my free time. I too need my free time. We all need our free time, and I really like playing the game. So and playing the game does not equal answering questions all the time for me. Oh, he's already dead. Yeah, I need to set the screen back. Give me a moment. Sorry, I'm a bit used to switching screens like this. How do I fix this? Give me a sec. That should be this one on top again. Yes! Haha! I'm getting better and better at this. Maybe in a year or 3 I will actually understand how this works. There we go. So this is actually my most played combination. Most played combination on every faction actually. The G43 in combination with the Kar 98, the SVT40 in combination with the Mosin Nagant, and on this one the Garand in combination with the Rifle 1903. I don't know what I like about this combination, but I've got a fast firing M1 Garand without a scope, and then I have the rifle with a scope, and I really like this playstyle it gives. Ooh, what am I shooting at? I'm shooting at trees. That's nice. And oh, I actually have to stop the stream for myself again, or else it's getting a bit laggy. As to NM3 Jazz, I do not work 80 hours a week, so yes, I do have some free time. Yay for me. Besides that, I'm actually not a developer, so I don't actually do any coding. I could do coding, but I promise you I will break everything, because I do not know how to code. Yeah, I think for me it's as long as I enjoy the game, of course, why not play it myself as well. I know there's actually a few people who have complained in the past, like, but it's so biased. But I play every faction. I enjoy playing every faction. I like the looks of the German weapons the best. The sounds of the Soviet weapons I really like. And this is basically the account which I am in a clan with on the US side for a very long time already. Even back before I wasn't even a Rito. So. So we need to worry about Alpha for a bit. Let's have a look. So this is actually one of the I have so many characters. No, not this one. No, not this one. This one. This is actually one of the characters I play with a lot lately because it just has the Garand. Has a rather quick spawn time. I attach a lot of value to how fast I spawn. So generally I'm actually not that big a fan of using the full automatic weapons. I mean, they're very good and can be very effective. But I simply value spawn time a lot. So I use combinations because the Garand and rifle combination or rather the semi-automatic bolt action rifle combination is not that common actually. And the reason why I primarily use it because there's a lot of people who combine it with the SMG, for example, which is an awesome combination. But for me, that I like the slightly shorter spawn time. It's as simple as that. Ah, he's in the opposite building. That's not good. So just looking at some of the chats. Yeah, it's I don't know what's going on, but I think there's stuff running on my background as well, so my performance isn't super awesome at the moment. I'm struggling a bit with the counter. I don't know what it's doing. It's doing stuff. But let's have a look. See, Bogey09 is inside church. Actually, he wasn't the only one. In regards to reopening the rooftop windows anytime soon, that's currently technically not possible. And the reason for this is that actually at some point in the past the character sizes were adjusted to be more the actual real sizes, and as a result of this we could actually still open the windows, for example, so you could try to jump through, but you will get stuck in them because the character size is now bigger than the window allows. Which means in order to actually adjust or fix this issue, and we don't necessarily want to fully fix it because we don't want we don't want the game to be all around bushes, but it would require us to actually partially redevelop these houses to make the windows fitting again. So that's something more like for future buildings. It would be a lot easier to re-implement that because it provides the opportunity to simply build the house from scratch anyway. And for the old houses, well, as far as I understand, a lot of the houses will eventually have to be redone. and in that case it's definitely an option which we can reconsider. But part of removing this was actually, it gave quite a positive effect, because there was a lot less roof battles going on, which is not generally something we necessarily want in the game, that everything resides on the roofs. Teabagging and all, that's nice. Did he actually steal our power for? Yeah. Playing very weird. I never take this route. It's terrible route for me. This plane is doing a decent job. Just, I need to. Where did he go? Ooh. Someone got him. Where the heck was that from? Ah, motorcycle. I'm a little worried about mines. We lost church. I think they're gonna get ugly now. There we go. I think they're all upstairs, that's even worse. Oh! Ah! Terrible. I don't know what's going on with my gun. Wait there! It's terrible at the moment. I don't know what's going on, but I seem to be struggling a lot today. Itchy, itchy. Walk forward, mouse me. Oh, we're recapturing church. That's at least a good thing, I guess. Let's see if we can assist in that. Oh, so that's where you are, huh? I don't know what I'm doing. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. There's still a guy on the roof somewhere in the towers. Absolutely terrible on playing. Horrible, I tell you, horrible. Don't know what I'm doing, but it's not going good. Oop. It's a good thing there's no team kill in this game. Oh, come on! Give me that headshot! Are you kidding me? There's also a guy shooting from there. Come on, kill. Unlock it. Oh, it's already unlocked. What the hell? I'm one of those guys who can get annoyed by his own gameplay. I'm a horrible guy. Oh. Where's the last guy? Ooh. Oh, what the? Where the heck are they entering from now? Someone is letting me out of that. Okay, I just received word that we are about to redeploy the servers, guys. So the servers are about to go down. The reason for this is because we need to fix so that the war can end properly again. Which means that the actual facing time, the building time of the build is done, which means we are about to deploy. So servers will go down for maintenance. The maintenance will last approximately an hour, and after it's back up, everything should hopefully work again, which would be awesome. And the war can end, and we will have to see how the Germans end up with the Belgrade as a faction, as a starting capital. So, and I think this battle will not see the end. Actually, oh my god, what am I doing? So this battle will most likely not see the end because we need to deploy this fix. The war has been lasting long enough in terms of not ending. Where is he shooting from? For the love of God. Oh, he's up. I can remain to chat, spawn to death, but you will be staring at an empty screen, so I might just end the stream, but continue a bit in chat. Oh boy. Astonishing. There's even a third guy there. Where is he? Oh, I don't like these things. I don't like this plane either. They're not being very friendly to me. What is shooting from over here? That's a friendly. STG is somewhere. Let's see. He's around there. He's up. And Draken, it doesn't necessarily take long to actually do the fix. It, however, does take time to analyze how much of a fix it should be, or how much improvements or decrease it should be. Analyzing other weapon stats, it simply takes time. And the developer who usually does these things has simply been, at the moment, very busy with releasing 1.08 at the time, and he has a lot of other tasks which he needs to be looking at. So stuff like this simply takes time. I know it's you guys see it as a poor excuse, but we are a small team, which means that these guys actually have multiple tasks in terms of balance, development, and stuff like that. It is what it is. We are looking into the stats right now, and we are preparing some fixes once these stats have been fully analyzed. But it simply needs a little more time. And in the meantime, I dare say that you have absolutely plenty of other guns which you can use in the meantime, until the MG42 may or may not receive its fixes.
Yeah, boy. Would you look at that, boys? Yeah, kitty, 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 kitty.
Oh shit. Oh crap. I need to, where's the pencil box here? Where is the thing again? I don't know. Is it in here? Oh, come on. Ah, I'll just unlock it. It's easier. Ah, somebody already unlocked it. Never mind. At Andreas, on this one I have twice rate of fire, which is the trigger plus internal. Then I have the Scout 2 barrel, which makes it a 2-shot. And then I have the scope. And on the other Garants, which I have without the scope, I'm actually using the... instead of the scope, I use the improved sights, basically.
Mommy!
Aw, come on, I wanted to run him over. Ah, he jumped behind the wall. I'm actually just waiting for the servers to go down. I thought it was gonna happen like soonish, but maybe there's still a countdown going on. Oh boy. I don't like going in at full speed towards things. It's usually pretty suicidal. Aw, now I need health again. I don't like things. Do you have health? Do you have? I know there's a health pack up ahead here, I think. Yeah, there is. Potion crap sticks. Oh, double crap sticks. Run away! Run away! Hey! Because there should be health up ahead in the bush here. In the bush. Quickly see if I can support my buddies there, but they're only a tank and they don't have anything. There we go. Well met, Manfred, 1 for 2. I'm pretty sure the game will last that long, but I mean, we have a lot of things to fix right now, and a lot of things we would like to do, and let's hope the game stays alive for that long. There still seems to be quite a lot of people enjoying it, which is good. This APC. No shooting at me. No nading at me. Bad Germans. Bad. Where is he? Ow! I think the other guy went back into the APC, maybe? I don't know. Where is he? Oh, there. Wait, he's here. He shot from around here. Huh. Interesting. as to duty peers, the replay commands are only active when you actually watch a replay. So basically, you can see indeed the replay commands, but activating or watching the replays is actually a different kind of tool system. So, and you have to download the replay and then you can load in, which has an entirely different UI because you can switch between all players and stuff like that. So the replay commands is not something I can actually show you. We could have a look at the replay tool at some point, maybe in the future, but making it available for public is rather tricky because that tool is definitely not suitable for live. So it's definitely not suitable for other people to use. So that's something we've talked about it a decent while ago that we would like this, but I have to be very honest. It's not a priority to add right now. There's a lot of other stuff, community issues which we would like to address first, and there's some big stuff coming up like the armor overhaul and things like that. And there's a lot of other stuff which we would like to add, so I don't see it happening anytime soon that the replay tool becomes available for public. Why am I using Dynamite Lover but not using explosives? Well, shit! I think that might actually be a visual issue. Is it a visual? Yeah, it's a visual issue. It's fast reload. I was already wondering what? No, it's fast reload badge. I use fast reload badge on most of my characters actually. In regards to sales and stuff like that, that's you will know when the sales arrive. An LMG for the Soviet paratroopers. There is actually quite a few more weapons I think which they would like to add, but to be honest, adding an LMG for the Soviet paratroopers is a perfect question for the Q&A and why stream, because Vito Rebion is much more involved in this stuff. "21 seconds. Is there going to be a voice chat in game? I think at some point we wanted to do it, and then no, it's actually it starts in 50 minutes, and now it's actually no longer. I think it's once again it's best asked in Q&A why. I haven't heard anything about the voice chat in a good while, to be honest. There has been some talks about it in the past, but I'm pretty sure those answers aren't that accurate anymore actually. So well, the 1-year veteran in the game is actually available right now, Doc 8 phase, so you can purchase that one right now. It's actually in the store. I tried to save up for it on my private account as well, but unfortunately I don't have the necessary credits or gold to buy it at the moment. But the 1-year veteran membership should be here. Yeah, it's here. The Hitler speech is not going to return, because the Hitler speech was actually removed because of a copyright issue, or potential copyright issue. So, and at some point I know there was a discussion of adding some new kind of interesting talks in these speakers around town and stuff like that. But once again, I also haven't heard anything about that lately. I know that there's a lot of work on the sounds right now. There's a lot of sounds we would like to rework, and I think that's currently a bit of a priority, reworking the other older sounds in the game. In terms of sound development, that is. So. It's just I've wasted all my credits, or wasted. I've bought really a lot of characters with it. So I used to have a lot of credits, but I don't anymore. Server shutting down any moment. Do the players, that I do not know exactly. I'm not really involved in that, but generally the copyright laws in Denmark are fairly strict. So to avoid issues, some of this stuff had to be simply removed. Can you show me your tanks? On this character, hold on. It's actually, so on this character, because I've been playing tank quite a lot as well. I have the only the top tanks basically. What I would like, and actually what is planned for armor overhaul as well, is that I can use the other tanks as well, because personally I find if you're there to in a good team, playing with the M3 Lee with 2 gunners is hilariously fun. So that's but I know that is being addressed with the armor overhaul, so that's a good thing. So then you can just use all the things. But I prefer the Chevy, but the Steward is also very good, and the M2A2 is actually very cheap and effective to use when they have no tanks, because a machine gun is pure derping. At Larson159, the downtime is to address the wars currently not being able to end. So we're gonna fix that, along with we will probably also deploy some other stuff. Yeah, there's also some other stuff being deployed which was already ready. So that's also will be deployed, but the primary fix here is to fix the war so it can end again, so the wars can start over. Because right now those battles aren't properly sent to the war server, which means that it's not being registered that the war has ended, or it fails to start a new war. The other faction tanks. Oh, I don't have that on this character, but on the other faction tanks, I prefer the. I like the actually even this one. I like the what's it called again? The KV-85. I think that's actually a fairly fun tank for me to play with. In terms of comparing it with the IS-2, of course, naturally the IS-2 is sort of higher in tier, but I do like the KV-85. The T-70 is of course naturally, I find that a very effective tank as well. And on the medium tanks, I actually never even really played with the 67, so I use the 85. And on the German side, on the I like the Lukes and the 38T a lot, but they're like completely different, because the one is like basically only the smaller caliber, no, not smaller caliber, less ammo, and no real cannon shots, and the other one is a little more effective in terms of cannon shots. But I like the Lukes as well. That thing is I also really generally hate it when I have to fight against Lukes as infantry. It can be such a pain in the ass to deal with those things, but I kind of like those, I still think, to be honest, that the Panzer I is still one of the best light tanks I really like. Yeah, but it has been in the game for so long. It used to be actually the Panzer I used to be the counterpart against Steward back 2-3 years ago. So I played a lot with the Panzer I back in the days as well. I don't know, there's something I really like about the tanks. And before the Panther was added, the Panzer III and the Panzer IV were actually, for me, both quite acceptable in use. But right now I just use the Panther. It's just right now you automatically switch to the highest of its kind, and that is definitely something which will be addressed with the armor overhaul, which I'm looking forward to, because it is actually still quite interesting to use the other tanks. But right now with the current way the APCR works and the system is sort of set up, it's it's difficult, or rather, it's not very effective to use the slightly weaker tanks, and I'm looking forward to see some changes to that. But actually, for the tank destroyers, the stock looks badass, but I love the Hetzer with the MG on top, where you can't get shot out. That is absolutely brutal, and it's relatively small in size, which is also can be quite beneficial sometimes. Still haven't been kicked out, have we? No. As for Felix 1253, the idea is currently actually not to really advertise for HNG. Of course, we would like to have new players, definitely, but we also have to take into account that right now there's so much issues which we want to fix that we're gonna focus on that. And of course, naturally, in the future we will run new promotions to attract more players, because in the end we want this game to be as big as it can be, of course. So. Oh, sorry, I need to relocate the microphone, I think. I'm being attended that I should talk in the microphone better. Apologies. I think getting rowdy, the resizing of the UI in general, because of the various amount of screens, is something which have been requested before. I think you're best off asking this one actually as well in the Q&A and Y show at Retail Webground to see what he thinks about this. Because if we see that it's a big issue, if a lot of people experience this, then of course we can prioritize it. But it sounds to me like something we could add in the future, but that's not really my call. So I think it would be best to ask in the Q&A Y show and inform Rita Repion about it and see what he thinks about it. The refer a friend option, Felix 1253, is something actually which we wanted to add at some point, but it got postponed, cancelled, shelved due to some technical problems. And the gifting system, I also don't really know what the answer is on that, but I do know from experience, I've worked at previous games in the past, and of course naturally I played a lot of games in the past. It's very sensitive to scammers and gold farmers and stuff like that. So Larson 159, after the downtime, I'm not sure if it will automatically register that these battles have been played, so it could be that the US still has to capture the capitals. But at least after this update, the war will correctly end in some way. So it could either be that the war will directly end because it will register, but it could also be that these battles have to be played once more, and after that it will correctly end. The downtime should be about an hour, guys. SJO124, you can actually see every vehicle when you're in the spawn overview screen. This is a reported issue. I'm currently don't really know what status it has, but it's definitely a known issue that you can see enemy vehicles when in the spawn screen, and it's not intended. Jakovatian, how do you pronounce this? Jakovatian Phaeton 1919. We would like to add other factions, most likely as sub-factions until they can stand on their own or perform, because the Soviet implementation was something meh, which caused some issues at the beginning. So we would like to add more factions as sub-factions, but I also have to say that I think right now, for now, we have some other priorities which we're going to sort out on short term. I mean, on long term, that's once again something which Rito Raptor knows more about. And Pink Unicorn Lover, God, what a name. When will there be an RTS update? Well, we just released the framework, which is part of the reason why the war ending broke. And the framework is used to refactor the entire code of the war server. And while that is being refactored, this will allow the ability to actually change stuff to the RTS. So currently it's not really possible to change anything on the RTS. Besides some UI changes, which Rito Vashu will do in some upcoming update. But the actual how the RTS works and stuff like that is currently not possible to change until the RTS has been refactored. And when that is going to happen, that is a very, very time-consuming process. So I don't think anyone right now would be able to give an accurate guess on when that will happen. At Sebastian, the K98 site be reworked. Not that I know of, but maybe that the system which is being tested, on top of my head, is what's called PBR, might make a difference in that. To be honest, I don't really know. But it could be that PBR system, if we decide to implement that, makes a difference in terms of, because it makes a significant difference from what I've seen in how it looks graphical wise. So it could also make a difference in how everything is perceived. What I do know actually is that, which is also being prepared, is that one of the fixes which is upcoming, because it has been reported since 1.07.1, is there's a lot of black borders around the scopes, is that this is being addressed. There's a fix being worked on for this, or a change being worked on to make the scope size a little more clear. In regards to Gothic cores, the pilots will be reduced in the experience gain. Oh, there we go. So that automatically opens up the servers are down due to a hotfix. Stuka, yeah, the Stuka is something we've always wanted to add, so I would expect it somewhere in the future. So, but since actually, yeah, there should be a minigame, shouldn't there? Yeah, since the servers entered maintenance and I'm already actually 35 minutes over official time, I think it's a good time to actually shut down the stream. I've answered some of the questions from chat, and feel free to watch back some of the stuff, because there was also people asking for my player profile and stuff. I showed that, talked a bit at the beginning about the upcoming changes in regards to community issues, so this will appear on YouTube later, but you can also watch it back on Twitch if you have missed anything. And next week there will be a Q&A and Y stream again, so you can tune in for that. I think the topic for questions has been closed already, or it will close soon. So be fast or try to get your questions in for next time. And yeah, next week will be with Rito Raptor and Rito Gargamel, so it won't be with me. In 2 weeks time, however, I will be back with another community Frontline. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, we'll see you around hopefully. Goodbye.